Hello friends, my name is Emmanuel. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of Building Capacity. The topic under consideration is entitled The Gifts of Sex. Now I know many books, articles and publications have been written by various experts on this subject. Honestly, there is so much that I need to learn, and there's so much that you need to learn about it. And we best be on our way. In this video, I want to share some insights which I know will really help you understand a little bit about the purpose of this profound gift called sex. Let's define sex for a moment. Sex is a physical expression of a deeper reality. Sex is a gift from God given to humanity for the purpose of binding, for the purpose of reproducing, for the purpose of multiplying. It is not just a biological function, it's not just a fleeting pleasure or casual encounter. It's a gift that carries meaning with it, carries purpose with it, and power with it. Think about it. Of all the ways God could have designed for the human race to continue, He gave us this special gift of sex. He gave us something intimate, something sacred, something joyful, something that binds two people together. Because God is a God of oneness, is a God of unity. This alone tells us something about sex. That sex was never meant to be casual. There's nothing casual about sex. Sex is highly sacred and covenantal. According to the late Dr. Miles Monroe, in one of his books, The Fatherhood Principle, he made a statement which I think is very profound about purpose. He said, when a purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And so it behooves us to learn what the purpose of sex is. So let's talk about purpose for a moment. From an anthropological perspective, sex it has always been more than reproduction. Sex built families, built communities, built tribes, and even whole nations. It was tied to inheritance. It was tied to strategic alliances and even political power. In many cultures, it was considered sacred and the bridge between generations. It was that important. And from a biblical perspective, sex is simply God's gift to humanity for the purpose of joining the male and the female. For the scripture says, a man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall be united to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. So, sex is that physical act that binds and joins the man and his wife. Why? For the purpose of establishing a covenant. Secondly, to procreate. Sex is for procreation, and sex carries a spiritual meaning. It has weight in the spirit. It is not just a physical thing. And that's why when people engage in sex, they're emotionally and psychologically bound to each other. That's when you get the idea of soul ties. Now, here's some practical importance of sex. Physically, sex is life-giving. It is pleasurable, it reduces stress, it strengthens the human immune system, and it promotes longevity. It increases life expectancy. Studies have shown the people who have prostate cancer oftentimes have a reduced engagement in sexual activities, and it actually cut short their lives. Relationally, sex builds connection. Yes, it increases sexual intimacy, and it releases bonding hormones like oxytocin that literally bonds two people together. And psychologically, sex affirms worth and gives you a sense of belonging. It says, I am fully yours and you are fully mine. A sense of belonging, a sense of reassurance that you are seen, you are chosen, and you are loved, and you are safe. I want to also say that sex must be practiced within a context. God designed sex within the boundaries of marriage between a man and a woman. And anything outside of this context of marriage is an abuse. And that's why we have what we term sanctified sex and sexual immorality. Sanctified sex is sex done within the jurisdiction that God has set, within the boundaries of marriage, within the marriage context. While sexual immorality is any sex that is practiced outside of the marriage covenant, outside of the boundaries of marriage. What are the consequences of sex? In our modern society, people celebrate premarital sex. They celebrate casual hookups, casual sex, illicit sex. We have what we call the hookup culture, and so on and so forth. You see, when sex, which is a profound gift from God, is abused, it leads to emotional trauma. It leads to fear of intimacy. It leads to broken homes, broken families, broken relationships, toxic relationship. It leads to feelings of shame, feelings of unworthiness, addictions, spiritual disconnects. You're disconnected from God. When you engage in sexual activities outside the boundaries of God. It leads to sexually transmitted infections, sexually transmitted diseases, broken homes, dysfunctional families, unwanted pregnancies, and even ungodly soul ties. You see, people who have sex outside of marriage, they bind themselves, they join themselves with that person, and that person may not be good for them long term, but because they've had sex with that person, they've bound themselves to that person, and they formed an ungodly soul tie. That's why many people cannot move on from a toxic relationship, because they are connected on a more visceral level. So it leads to premature death as well. And any form of sexual abuse or any form of sexual immorality is a sin. It is a sin, and if it's not repented of, can lead to destruction. So what's the conclusion of everything? When sex is treated as a gift from God, it heals, it facilitates unity, and it empowers us. When it is misused, it wounds, it divides, it breaks, it damages, and it depletes you, it diminishes you, your sense of worth. So the challenge for us is simply to understand what sex is. Do we see sex as a game or as a gift? Do we see it as consumption, just an appetite that needs to be satisfied? Or do we honor it as a covenant? Because when we reclaim sex for what it truly is, as a divine gift from God and not just a cheap game, we restore its purpose, its place, and its power in society. And we honor ourselves by so doing. We honor one another, and we honor God, our Creator, who have given us this profound gift. Thank you.